disappointments and how to deal. Let's jump into it. Roll it. Everybody deals with disappointment. It is a given fact of life. You will be disappointed in different things in your life on any given moment. The idea is very simple. You see something, you have an idea in your head, you actively work towards that idea, and you expect, which is the key word there, you expect some kind of result in accordance to how you thought about this idea. This applies to people, places, and things. Very simply, true in fact. What ends up occurring, no matter what of the three areas we're looking at, we create this expectation, and as we are creating this expectation, well, things start moving, hope is revealed, and of course this thing starts growing called trust. Now, as a disappointment occurs because it's something we weren't expecting to happen and we were expecting the opposite, well, now we gotta deal with it, and everybody goes through the same emotions based on any one thing that's happening. The question is, what level are they dealing with? As in yesterday's video, the level of disappointment changes based on that expectation, and everybody perceives that expectation differently. What I would feel as a disappointment for any one thing is different than any other person's. The question really is, how do we deal? Dealing with disappointment comes down to emotional control. So our first step has to be that we analyze what's going on, just do a brief walkthrough of all your emotions, accept all the emotions that are there, really accept and know that you're angry, know that you're projecting that anger towards that situation or towards you because you made the mistake, for instance, and really understand all these different emotions. Take a step back and let yourself calm down from the emotional side. Once this is done, well, we started centering ourselves, and because we're starting to center ourselves, well, now we can start seeing what the situation is and what this disappointment really is, based on reality, not based on our perceived momentary emotional instability when something occurred. Why do I say it like that? Well, it is emotional instability. We're not under emotional control. So whatever's happening, it's exaggerated by the nth degree of what we are perceiving that exaggeration to be on that expectation, such that we are not making the appropriate move forward steps in order to really limit the amount of disappointment we're having. Once this is happening and we're becoming more centered, well, now we can start looking at the situation and start really focusing on that integrity that we talk about, and of course the values, because these all play a part of what is our big purpose in life, that mission. Where are we heading to? And how does this disappointment fit into the equation? To be really real with ourselves, we have to ask ourselves in a manner where emotions aren't at play. Most of the time we realize that whatever has occurred is not that big of a disappointment, but rather it was just our emotional state of being at the moment, and it doesn't really affect us long term. This brings out opportunities, and we start seeing all the different opportunities that exist, and then we can make the appropriate decision based on integrity and our values so that we can move closer in that direction of where we want to be. When we are in a state of negative craziness in our mind, we are not able to see all the opportunities at play. Thus, it is all structured in this manner so that we are able to actually find ourselves and find ourselves back on that path, that direction of where we need to be. This plays out with people, places, or things. So when we get disappointed in people, we really need to ask ourselves, are they supposed to be in our narrative, in our story? Or have we been holding on to them in our story for longer than we should? I get into this debate with several friends, especially my friend Louis Mabi. He's a medium, and he always tells me, like, bring yourself back. Where is this person in your story? I'll link his website below. You should definitely check them out. When we look at the subject of people and disappointment, it's very simple. We can't control people's reaction to any one situation. However, most of the time, we create an expectation, and through that expectation, hope is born. And as hope is created and it gets more stronger and stronger, trust starts to form, and then as trust becomes bigger and bigger and stronger and tighter and really starts hugging that whole person, and it's this big nice relationship, well, one bad thing occurs that really hits you hard with your values. Trust is broken. Expectations that were through the roof turn into the equivalent level of disappointment. And now we got to make a decision. Again, it comes down to opportunities. And what are our opportunities? How do these people fit in our narrative? And how they're going to react in the next steps that we need to take for ourselves. What's best for us based on those opportunities. This works the same thing with places, whether it's changing a career and going somewhere new, a new environment, or it's comes down to, you know, when you're moving to a new location, or even when you go to travel and your buddy was like, you should go to this island, it's awesome. He showed you a couple pictures and you realize it was only those pictures that he took that was good about the island, and there goes 4 days of your vacation. Now, tangibles, well, it's an interesting one, and I'll make a whole video about it because I want you to think about something. How many times have you attached yourself to a tangible object and you had difficulty letting it go? We characterize certain tangibles in a way that are almost like human beings. Then we can't leave apart from these tangibles, where our whole life starts to revolve around these tangibles, and decisions are not being made based on the best opportunity, but rather based on that emotional attachment we have. Cars are a great example where people don't want to trade up their car because they have a relationship with the car. Phones are huge. Man, I'm still talking to people who have Blackberries and they're like, yeah, I'm going down with the ship. I don't care. I want a Blackberry. When clearly there's other phones out there that are better for what they need. Let alone that they need a phone and they've become attached to the phone. I think we all have become attached to phones. I'm including myself in this one. Can't go a day without a phone. Well, I can if I had to, but it'd be a struggle. The expectation, however, is what we need to deal with, and it is how we deal with these things and how do we mitigate the risk of ourselves not following our pursuit to that direction we're headed in. So now you ask, well, how do I limit the disappointment? And in the next video, I'm going to go through the process of understanding that we can take appropriate steps to mitigate the risk of whatever situation may occur, and of course limit the possibility of the disappointment being too large for us to handle. My name is Nikos Rantas. This is mentorsapproach.com. Hit a like, hit a subscribe, and of course leave a comment below where you maybe thought about this whole disappointment and how it all works, and what are kind of things you've started doing to really deal with disappointment.
Snow again.